Welcome to Martin Monday's Intentional Intimacy, where love, life, and legacy meet in the moments that matter most. Every week, I will share sacred reflections of my 30-year marriage before Martin's passing, as well as our life now without him. May these reflections help us live with more weight, warmth, and wisdom. Martin was a letter carrier by profession, but a life carrier by purpose. So let's take a moment and let intentional intimacy speak.
Welcome to Martin Mondays, episode 48. I just want to come on today and talk about the excellence standard. This will probably be a brief uh, reflection on today because I want to honor a very good friend of me and Martin's. His name was Gene Raymond, and he had this way of responding that was unlike most. If you asked him how he was doing, he would say, "Excellent. How are you?" And it was actually a rather surprising response, but it was actually a wonderful response because it wasn't a matter of everything being excellent. It was a matter of a posture and him taking a position to operate in excellence. And, Martin and I talked about that a lot. We talked about Gene. And I've begun to incorporate excellence as a standard into what I'm doing within my business. And so the excellence standard today and closing out the month of June and fatherhood and legacy, I just want to step through these 10 markers of excellence and ultimately indicate that excellence is not one decision. It is ongoing and a collection of standards. And so it's a matter of being committed to a standard. And I think that's a lot of what Martin did. That's a lot of what Gene did. And it's a lot of what we are continuing to do in our lives as we live out legacy. And so I just want to step through these 10 and give you some information regarding them and just so you'll know. So, marker one is elevate the standard. And so that's basically us establishing what the standard is. You've got to have a standard that you're operating by and what you're doing. And so by having that standard, you're going to elevate it and you're going to establish what it is. Then you examine the alignment. Like, look at that standard. Does it align with your values? Does it align with your principles? Does it align with who you are and who you say you are? And then C is choose consistency, because at the end of the day, it's consistency that compounds. And we want to make sure that the things we are doing create consistency in our lives. Then we execute with integrity. That's important. If you say what you're going to be or do what you're going to do, what you say you're going to do, say what you mean and do it, all of that is integrity. And it's not just integrity externally that others can see, it's also integrity with yourself. Like, be honest with yourself and make certain that you are operating in integrity. Then lead yourself first. Because at the end of the day, that's the first person that you're leading. So many people want to be in leadership and they want to lead others, but the first person that you need to lead ultimately is yourself, because you're responsible for leading, guiding, and directing yourself before you can lead, guide, and direct anyone else. And so that's very important that you set a standard for yourself and then you lead yourself first before you try to lead others. Then love the process. At the end of the day, there are changes that are constantly happening. And, it's important that we embrace the process. I mean, because at the end of the day, there's so many changes that are coming down the pike, so many changes that are happening. And so we just have to love that process because the one thing that is constant is change. And so we have to, be consistent in that. We have to embrace the process because it's what it is. We can't change it. So we should just embrace it and love it for what it is, right? Then we have to engage with devotion. That means we give our whole heart. That means we dedicate ourselves, our mind, body, and our spirit to what it is that we're doing. Then we normalize discipline. Discipline is that daily decision, where we're daily implementing, some specific logic and rules and things that help us. And we should normalize that. Like, discipline is very important to ultimately achieve your goals. And so we should normalize it where it's not something that is strange or foreign, but it is something that is standard, right? Then we need to cultivate growth. Growth is important. And because we want to be constantly growing, we don't want to become stagnant in what it is that we are doing. And then ultimately, last, we become the standard. So as you go through these 10 steps, you grow, you learn, you encounter different things, but then ultimately you become the standard and you live that out and you set an example for yourself and for others to follow. And so that was one of the things that I loved about Martin. He was himself. He was not shy in representing himself and being himself. And so as a result, he presented himself as his most authentic self at all times. I can't say I always agreed with it, but I could definitely appreciate the consistency in who and what he was. And so that is very important. And I encourage all of you to, whoever you are, with whoever you want to be, whoever you want to manifest yourself as, listen, be consistent in it, own it, right? Like, don't shy down from it, but operate in an excellent manner. Operate in a standard. Operate in something that represents who and what you are. Be proud of it and execute it. And so that ultimately becomes excellence for you. And so I just wanted to share, as a wink and an honor to Jean, and also in my husband as well, around excellence. And if you're ever interested, you certainly can check out my website, paulahollis.com/excellence. And you can find out a little bit more about these standards and the different classes and stuff that exist around them. But at the end of the day, what I want you to take out of this recording today is that you have a standard that you need to execute, you need to be consistent in, and you need to represent who and what you are. And so do that well, do that very well. And then ultimately, people will see and know who you are. So hopefully something I said today has shifted your energy and awakened your potential. Today was a little different, and I wanted to share that. I'm a little under the weather. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice, but I wanted to make sure I share something with you all. And next week, we will continue in the Lewis Principle for the month of July. We will be focusing on the other components. We did legacy, and we'll do the other components of the Lewis Principle. So stick with me, hang in there, and have a phenomenal week. Take care.
Hey guys, I'm breaking in because exciting news. As you can see from the slide, Martin Mondays is about to turn 1. I cannot believe that I've been doing this for almost a year. And so I want to celebrate the 1-year anniversary by asking some questions after each episode. So what is one lesson about love or legacy that you have learned or taken from Martin Mondays this year? Drop it in the comments. We want to hear from you. Take care. Martin Mondays continues on Tuesday with the Tuesday Tea. Check it out and join me and take a sip. Martin used to say a lot of things. Some were funny, some were wise, but one thing he often said was, wow. Wow. Just those 3 letters. It spoke volumes. It meant a lot. When he didn't know what to say, wow. When he was excited about something, wow. When he was confused, perhaps, or even frustrated, he said, wow. And you know, he's still saying wow. Through this bracelet, he's still saying wow, because he's still saying, may your whole life prove that God is good. And so in closing, that's my hope for you this week. May you have wow moments as you too are living out legacy. Live in the wow. Live in the reality of knowing that your whole life is good. Live in the heartbeat of Martin Mondays and intentional intimacy. May that anchor you in this week as you build legacy, one wow, one moment at a time. See you next week.